And I'll be beginning video number 12, and I thought I'd give you a different view of the Kindle so you can get a better feel for what size it is. This is the Kindle Fire, and this is set up on a little stand so you can set it on the table and read. And this shows where I left off on chapter 7. Title of that chapter, Bear With Me. Wouldn't you know it? I chilled immediately after merging the 3/8 letter to Herman, after closing it, temperatures rising, and telling him I was heating up my quick, dry humor and moist molasses gingerbread. He had closed his letter, Stay warm. I guess I don't take commands well. I wish I could have taken that one. Since I'm not a Jell-O salad, this chilling is not good. It's now noon, March 11th, and I'm still trying, in my cool-down state, to get the spice right with revisions in Chapter 6. Paprika isn't doing it. Sage, cinnamon, and nutmeg aren't the right blend either. Maybe time will heal. Spelled T-Y-M-E. If not, I may have to hit you with cayenne pepper. It's supposed to be a catalyst to release other spices. And all spices work best when heated. Close your eyes. Here comes the cayenne. Whoosh! A cloud of red haze is hovering over Chapter 6. I hope environmentalists don't get a whiff of it. Or maybe I do. It might clear their thinking. Deactivate the jumping beans so their conclusions would be rational and well-founded for a change. No, I'm overly optimistic. Ecological and rational are contradictions in my dictionary. I hate to recognize it, let alone admit it. I'm mixing metaphors, taste with temperature. But they both relate to cooking, so what the heck? In case you don't know, it's a no-no, a grammatical sin, to mix metas. It's likely a culinary faux pas to mix too many spices, too. I'm definitely having my mental monthly. I lost my pithy, pokey touch, trying to weave my world with Tom's, so he'd be interested in my manuscript. He's a good barometer for my writing's appeal. If it draws his attention, it'll easily attract that wide audience I'm after, since he doesn't have time or patience to be bored. Not many people do. But you see, I began trying too hard. When I develop a cooling, spice-repellent rash of qualms, I was not only working too hard to keep you mesmerized, magnetized, and tickled with every phrase, I was hurrying, afraid if I didn't get the ideas down fast, I'd lose them. It's happened, you know, often. Once a scene or concept is past its cue, the spark dies out, at least for a cycle. And my memory is so damn fickle. There are times I couldn't recall my own identity, let alone word dress it, say who I am with good sentences. Other times even ozone ideas, so far-fetched they're said to be, out in the ozone, flow simply, clearly, and rapidly. I can write them with so much pizzazz, they fizz off the page, and crystal light gurgles. You'd be amazed what I can come up with. Why, at times, I'm effervescent. I even said once that the ozone hole is a normal breathing mechanism. It opens when it's gathered enough waste to spew, and amazingly, it knows when to close its mouth. It's been doing this regularly and healthily even before ecologists happened to notice it and scream bloody murder, before understanding what really causes it, volcanoes, not us, and that it's a good thing. Good God, if they're not fretting about an ice age, they're sweating over global warming. Read my fiction if you don't believe me. There is a downside to getting Molasses published before my fiction is contracted. If the fiction's not nearing bookshelf availability, I'm teasing you without money in my mouth. You are nice, but other people may get upset if I can't put my money where my mouth is. I know if Molasses starts selling like mad, thanks to you, and creates a demand for my sextet, several publishers and agents will suddenly spring out of the moon like big black birds, sight my Rockville attic down below, and crow like crazy for my prior manuscripts. But there will be a time, in quotes, jet lag. And if you're like me, you don't like to wait for something you've been mercilessly primed and baited for. I'll do the best I can. I realize I haven't sent out a query since the 4th, but I'm trying to strike while the iron's hot with Molasses. Besides that, I'm really enjoying this book, and I'm wanting to wait to see what responses I get to the letters and submissions out now. I'm thinking I'll get a note from Herman on March 17th, St. Pat's Day. He's so good at hitting the holidays. I'd sure like to hear from Jacqueline Onassis. She'd probably get well quick if she read my gems. I think the reaching out letters I've written recently are masterpieces. You'd think all the queried would respond. Alla Herman's winner statement, I must see it. Immediately upon reading my letter offering Molasses. Wouldn't you think they would? I would. I wouldn't mind a response from someone, anyone, who's read any of the Molasses manuscripts. Oh well, one of these days I'll have so much feedback, I won't know what to do with it, but I'll give it my best. My thank you response time is better than most. Sometimes I cook my own goose, though. Now Tom's taking the 5th when I ask for his opinion of my writing. He read that I quoted him word for word. If all your books were like this, I'd probably want to read 'em. At least by reading Molasses, you'll know why I'm slow getting my stories to market. Everyone has their routines, responsibilities, tragedies, and holidays to take their time. Sometimes I wonder if I exist outside of time, or if I exist at all. I did get my proof of existence papers once, then I lost them. Then I found them again. I don't know where they are now. Probably somewhere in this attic. I have birthdays like everyone else. I even send other people cards on their birthdays. But I don't send Christmas cards anymore. I've heard too many people groan, sometimes even growl, when they do their holiday duties, which have collected over time to be overwhelming. That overwhelm dimmed the spirit for me. You know I'm allergic to church. I do enjoy getting Xmas cards. I don't mind taking time to remember worthy events and cook on highlighted spicy days. I do like holidays. Enough of that. On how to get through the holy terrors of not being able to keep up the good work, especially when no one except you has said it's good. Even when frenzied by rashes of qualms, I eventually remember what I know about relief. I made myself a sort of commandment in New Moon Blues. Be where I am and see the significance. By doing that in chapter 13 of that book, I not only instantly and magically released my keep it up qualms, but I rebalanced and recharged myself to write non-stop through the end of new moon and into quarter moon, before I cooled down even a little. I turbocharged out of a hell of a terror slump that time. Exactly what did I do? No, one thing literally led to another, and the significance was astounding. I merely described the sound at the end of the perking cycle of my Hamilton Beach drip coffee pot. Then I began describing the motel kitchen in which I and Gemstar, my computer, were working. That's where I was when the void hit, and I feared I had nothing else to say to finish the book. Imagine me fearing being at a loss for words. I won't go into detail here, since being is dramatized in New Moon. See, you'll have to buy and read my book someday if you want me to tell you how to be. That's not the same as telling you how to live, but we're getting close. I'd better not say we're getting hot on the trail of advice on living. I wouldn't want to take a chill again now that I'm warming a bit. Yes, you'll have to buy and read my gems. Soon, if not retroactive, if I have my say in the matter. I made an unconsciously instigated typo, now corrected. Typing drop instead of drip above. The Hamilton Beach glass pot didn't really drop, though. After a few years of faithful service, it smashed, broke, and cut my hand while I was trying to force the stainless steel ring around so the handle would exactly oppose the spout. If it doesn't, the pot's contents spill and dribble when it pours. We replaced the Hamilton with a more expensive, shiny, black Mr. Coffee. Tom wanted a coffee maker with a clock timer to start his tea brewing at 5:30 in the morning, a few minutes before his brain waves start their engines. Since his wife's brain is in reverse until the sun has warmed her eyelids, he wouldn't dare let her get up ahead of him to make tea. No telling what he'd be drinking. The Mr. Coffee is the maker I mentioned in Chapter 1 that is designed in imitation of Oberon. Note this. Everything circles back somewhere. You do have to know if you're coming or going, however. The conversation Tom and I were having in Stuffy's a couple of days ago truly does relate back to the quantum theories of my books. The problem, as I've said, is explaining how, and doing it clearly and concisely, with perk and spice. I haven't given up yet. I'm just building confidence and gathering time and space to demagnetize myself from terror gales and talent gaps. I used to be quite creatively skilled in the art of food preparation. Now I use that ability in book preparation. Poor Tom, what he puts up with. As you could guess, he'd probably rather eat well than read my books, especially since he doesn't like to read anything other than cartoons, caterpillar manuals, and model railroad magazines, if we want to tell the truth of the matter. Oh yes, last night, March 14th, as time moves on to revisions and more revisions, Chapter 6 is okay. Now I'm doing a redoing 7. Last night he told me he likes fantasies about sorcerers best in the fiction category at this time. He's read at least 4 of them in the last 6 months, and he likes to read Case, John Deere, Math, International, etc. manuals, as well as Caterpillar. Truck and equipment manuals he reads regularly. See, my being technique is working. I'm slowing down and heating up again. I can get going so fast in a fearful, frenzied hurry, I can't see the minute in front of my mind, or behind it either. Now we're getting somewhere. In my notes on the file folder on which I was scribbling in Stuffy's, I quoted Seth and Jane Roberts' books as saying, "The point of power is in the present." When I get around to it, I'll explain what this means and how it relates to the pure, qualmless consciousness I mentioned last chapter. One of these days I'll achieve qualmlessness, and I'll have my hand on the phone as it rings. Bantam will want me, unconditionally, unequivocally, ultimately, and immediately. Wait and see. It's inevitable. Okay, I think that might be a good pausing point again for reading number 12. And we'll see what comes up next time. This is kind of fun because it's been long enough since I read my book that some of it I don't remember, so it's like reading it new. I've always said one of my greatest joys in life would be to read any of my books without memory of what's happening next. So they'd be like reading them as if someone else wrote them. Although, of course, I'm really glad I wrote them. Okay, before I tie myself in knots, I'll sign off and we'll see you next time.